Hello, good morning. My name is Kurt Servin. I'm a doctorate from Plymouth University and I work in Jefo as a consultant for aquaculture specialist. Today we will talk about shrimp farming. Welcome to Livestock Community. Explaining the basics of shrimp farming. The particular thing about the shrimp is that it's a crustacean, which is also an insect that can produce biomass very quickly. Within 60 days, we're capable to produce 5 metric tons of shrimp in a pond, half of an hectare. Why the shrimp farming is so competitive in the industrial globally? Well, first of all, because of the short cycle, the revenues, and also the profitability of the shrimp. As most people know, fish farming involves higher volume but less revenue, whereas shrimp involves less volume and higher value. In this regard, many people in warm countries are seeking for profitability. And shrimp involves high risk, high demand, high cost, but also an expansion of markets. The matter of fact is that shrimp is now produced worldwide. Many places where the land is not good for agriculture or other species might be suitable for shrimp farming. For example, Saudi Arabia, Middle East, and many other countries. Also, because of the global warming and desertification of land, there is more land available for shrimp farming, and also the increase of salinity and the lack of fresh water, which basically opens up new places where we can grow shrimps. How the shrimp farmer manage water quality in their systems? Well, as a matter of fact, shrimp farming is a very diverse activity. It can be grown in ponds, can be grown in tanks, it can be grown in raceways, and every system has a different methodology how to exchange water and treat the water. The basics are the salinity, pH, dissolved oxygen, ammonia, algae, and many other factors involved. Almost like 60 factors involved in the water management, including sediment removal, which is one of the key factors for sustainability nowadays. What are the primary challenges faced by shrimp farmers today? Since ever, the biggest challenge for a shrimp farmer is survivability, which means the mortality is associated with pathogens, management, and water quality. Therefore, many farmers are struggling to increase the survivals, which are normally between 50 to 60%. Disease management involves biosecurity, monitoring, probiotics, immunostimulants. Nowadays, we're facing a new stage in the shrimp farming, but everybody's stopped using antibiotics, and we're now looking for natural solutions that are more eco-friendly, that increase the biodiversity and the microbiome of the shrimp ponds. Can you discuss the role of the feed in shrimp farming and the challenges associated with it? Well, as a matter of fact, feed is the higher cost of shrimp farming, almost 70% of the cost. And therefore, farmers have to make a good use of the feed with the use of novel technologies like automatic feeders, sensors, and management, of course, which is taking more than half of the profitability of the outcome of the shrimp farming. The trend towards sustainability or sustainable aqua feeds is the reduce of use of fish meal in the diets, which involves zero fish meal, very little fish oil, and this is a challenge for the nutritionists because we have to match the nutritional requirements of the shrimp as well as the input from the biofilm and the natural productivity of the pond. We have a livestock community question. What are the key factors that influence the success of shrimp farming? As a matter of fact, shrimp has now a global impact. Markets have spread all over the world, and we have to look for niche market. We have to see where we can make a better profit and where we can reduce the cost of transportation, other expenses associated with the shrimp. The biggest challenge, again, for the shrimp farmers is to keep the survivability above 60%, which involves management, the use of novel technologies, and also nutrition, which is essential for the shrimp survivals. How do shrimp farmers tackle the issue of disease management? When you're looking at post-larvae, you have to select the hatchery. You have to have a great communication with the genetics and the person who developed the post-larvae. Also very important to have PCR test before you deliver the post-larvae, so you know what pathogens you might have or you might not have. Nowadays, what we do is we have a compound of products that will help the shrimp to enhance the immune system and fight the pathogens. We're not looking at more wider spectrum of bacterium and microorganisms in the ponds, rather than being monoculture and reduce the biodiversity of the microbes. What are the environmental impacts of shrimp farming and how can they be mitigated? The matter of fact is that because of the disease and the less control with bigger ponds, farmers are looking for more controlled facilities in where they can integrate fish, shrimp, and also treat the wastewater and repump back in the ponds. In this way, they save water, they increase biosecurity, and also they increase the biodiversity of microorganisms, which bring a benefit for the shrimp. How does shrimp farming compare to other types of aquaculture in terms of sustainability? Again, sustainability has to come from all the stages along the chain. From hatchery that can produce post-larvae with no antibiotic use, also the first stage, which is the nursery, which is a fantastic stage where we can enhance the immunity of the shrimp by adding probiotics, minerals, vitamins, and so, but also to reduce the length of the cycle by using multiple phases. Some farmers are using 1 or 2, 3 phases in order to reduce the amount of water, the amount of waste, and the time of the length of the shrimp cycle. Other sustainability activities involved is also to consume local ingredients and to sell the shrimps locally to reduce the carbon footprint and also to reduce the cost associated in transportation and so. What are the economic aspects of shrimp farming, particularly for small-scale farmers? In reality, small farmers have to look for a niche market. Normally, they have to seek for fresh markets, domestic markets, where they can deliver the shrimp overnight and avoid competing with global productions and frozen shrimps. Also, it's important to have an integration within communities and having other farmers or bigger farmers create integrations that can help the small farmers to overcome the financial pressure and also to help to deliver the product in the right market and also get access to credit towards feed, which is the most important cost. What are the potential benefits and challenges of integrated multi-trophic aquaculture in shrimp farming? As we've seen over the last years, monoculture is difficult to control. People are increasing the production of white leg Pacific shrimp and therefore they're forgetting about other species. We learn from fact that having multiple species in the same farm can bring a benefit, not only in terms of microbiome, but also in terms of natural productivity, microalgae, and other organisms. Again, because we're looking towards sustainability and the reduction of chemicals and antibiotics, we have to make the better use of the water by using the same liter of water and produce shrimp and fish and other species along the side. How can genetic selection and breeding improve shrimp farming? Some of the most successful shrimp farmers have their own genetic program, which involves many years of selecting breeding and for multiple aspects, such as feed conversion ratio, growth rate, disease prevention, and so. As a matter of fact, shrimp is 30 years behind poultry and other livestock activities, but the future will be involve shrimps that can grow 2 to 3 times the growth rate that we have nowadays. Some companies are very pushing forward for these genetic programs, and they're looking at cycles of production for 50 to 60 days where they can produce 20-gram shrimp, which is fantastic because we can reduce the cost of production by 30-40%. What are the main markets for farm shrimp and how are they evolving? As the shrimp demand increases, the markets are increasing as well. But also we see the other trends in domestic markets with also in warm countries where people produce the shrimp, they're also consuming shrimp. We're looking at countries that can consume from 3 kilos per capita up to 9 kilos per capita. And these are domestic consumptions, which are fantastic and bring a higher return of income and also cash flow in the pockets of the farmers, especially small farmers. So the markets are very fluctuating and we see a lot of pressure from different countries involving different cost of production, but the matter of fact is also that countries that grow shrimp, they're also consuming shrimp, which is fantastic. Those countries that produce shrimp, we're mainly talking about Latin America. We're also looking at Saudi Arabia and India expanding very fast, as well as Southeast Asia, of course, and China, of course, which is the biggest consumer, but also the largest producer. But again, they all need shrimp, and they're looking at different presentations, sizes, and value-added products. which involves a much better strategy market. I will say consumers in Europe and in the US, of course, they're looking at sustainability certifications, a much better transparency along the change that will bring a better opinion to the public and the consumer when they eat the shrimps. What are the future trends for you, for instance, in shrimp farming? The reality of the future of the shrimp farming, it will involve integrated shrimp farming, also the development of new markets, genetics, tools, management, sensors, adaptations. We have to adapt technologies for other activities in livestock production, such as sensors, automatic feeders, transporters, pumps that will reduce the cost of labor, but also will reduce the stress associated with management, which involves a higher impact on the shrimp production and yields. And the future of shrimp farming in general, people will be capable to produce shrimp in different places, for example, Europe, and in the US, of course, the cost of production will be way different, but again, the profitability and the price of the shrimp will be much higher because the shrimp will be sold as a fresh product, almost live, I will say. This will bring a new opportunity for closed system and control conditions that can produce shrimp all year long and reducing the cost of transportation, storage, and so on. Can producers influence the sustainability of shrimp farming? As the markets are expanding and the demands are increasing for traceability, countries in where shrimp is being produced for export have to adapt to certain methodologies, strategies, and legislation, which involves transparency along the chain from no-plea all the way to grown-up, harvest, post-harvest, processing, but also the nutrition, which plays an essential role because in the eyes of the customer, shrimp farming has very positive aspects, but also some negative aspects that we need to work on it, which is the use of fish meal, but also the discharge of water. So yes, farmers can increase the sustainability by adopting new methodologies and also standards when producing the shrimp. What advice would you give to young researchers and professionals interested in shrimp farming? Practical work is essential for young professionals and also students who are interested in shrimp. As a matter of fact, we're only facing one generation, in the best scenario, 2 generations of shrimp farmers, which basically means that the farmers, the people that are farming the shrimp today and their sons are getting into the business, which involves a new discipline, a new mentality around the shrimp farming. And these people need a lot of help from outsiders in a way that I can bring technologies into the farm. They can adapt new methodologies, but also technology transfer for different regions. Some activities, management, and compounds that are being used in other parts of the world can be used in their region. And for that, they need people, outsiders, coming to the farm, as well as the interest, they need the practice and the knowledge that has been developed in the last 30 years. My name is Kurt Servin, a doctorate in shrimp nutrition. It's all for me today. Thank you for watching Livestock Community.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Livestock Community Podcast, proudly sponsored by Jefo. We hope you enjoyed the discussion and found it valuable. For more information, be sure to visit jefo.com Livestock Community, and don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Instagram to stay updated with the latest episodes and content. We'd love to have our experts answer your questions, so feel free to send them our way through our social media. See you next time, and thank you for being part of the livestock community.